I'll never forget growing up in our house down in South Texas. I think my daddy had put a little cardboard sign in our kitchen, and it said, one tragedy a day is normal if you have one child, two if you have two, three if you have three, and so on. And I learned over the years as a dad, and surely as I've watched my wife and my mom over the years, there are just so many times in the life of a parent that stuff happens that's difficult. And there's just so many things as a parent that, I can have a tendency to be afraid of that can worry me and put fear in my heart. And certainly over the last few years of my life, there's been a lot more things that have come about that have put a lot of questions about, do I really trust God or do I really not? I heard a story one time about a man who was caught in a flood. And this hurricane came into a city and it flooded his house, and the water kept rising and rising. And finally he got up on top of the roof of his house and he prayed, "God, save me." And he cried out to God as the water kept getting higher and higher on the roof of his house. Perhaps you've heard this story. I've heard it for years. And then a boat came by, and the guy driving the boat said, "Hey, put on a life jacket and jump in." And the guy said, "No, God will save me." And then he kept praying, "God, save me." And another boat came by, and the guy who was drowning refused to get in that boat too. And then a third boat came by, and the man driving the boat said, "Hey, jump in the boat and I'll get you off the roof of your house." And he said, "No," I said, "I'm praying God will save me." Well, sure enough, the water just kept getting higher and higher, and pretty soon it consumed the man. He couldn't swim very good and he drowned. And so the man got to heaven and he met with God, of course, and he said, "God, where were you? Why didn't you save me?" And God said, "Well, I sent the boat by 3 times and you just refused to get in." In Psalms 56:3, there's a tremendous promise that says, "When I'm afraid, I will put my trust in God." And I love that. I love that as a parent of 4. And there were so many situations in our home that were just crazy that came up during those years. And now as a grandparent of 15, I think I probably stress more and worry about more about my grandkids than I did even about my children. But fortunately, the more my trust is tested, I guess, with various events in my life, the more I'm finally learning that God's word is really reliable. It's really true. And so I just, I can't make you 72 years old. I'm sure I'm the oldest person in this video interaction today. But if I could give you anything as a parent, if I could give you any gift today, it would be to memorize that verse and to lean on that verse in Psalms 56:3. When I'm afraid, I'll put my trust in you. And so the questions today also come from Psalms 56. This one from verse 4, where David said, "In God, whose word I praise, in God I've put my trust. I shall not be afraid. What can mere man do to me?" And so the question is, when were you most afraid as a parent recently, and how did God receive your prayer for help? And then the second meditation is from Psalms 56:8 and 9. He said, "You have taken account of my wanderings, put my tears in your bottle. Are they not in your book? Then my enemies will turn back in the day when I call. This I know, that God is for me." Isn't that a great verse, parents? So what is David saying in this beautiful passage about God's tender and purposeful fatherly care? God is for me. 4 simple and yet profound words. What do these words mean to you personally? It's really great to share a devotional with you today, parents, and I just hope that you, as I'm talking to myself today, also will be more trustworthy when crazy things happen in our life as parents and grandparents.